Hello, it's Tina. Welcome to A Live to Work.
And I am Kate. I'm going to be driving you today, everybody.
That's exciting. What are we going in?
So today's episode is about overwhelm. And that feeling of overwhelm can be quite pressured, like really quite a claustrophobic feeling. So at the moment, we're on a train, a commuter train at 8:30 in the morning-ish.
It's a bit squished.
And it's squished.
Yeah,
So you can't move.
yeah.
Bit stinky, you know.
And that doesn't feel entirely relaxing. So you are on a commuter train, but what Kate and I are going to do is we're the conductors and we're going to take you into the first class carriage because there's too many people on this train. So you'll have a bit of breathing space. But yeah, that idea of it, is really helpful, isn't it? So overwhelmed. Why does it happen, Kate?
So I am sure that every single one of us at some point has been overwhelmed. And it's kind of that thing where you it's the straw that broke the camel's back. It's one thing on top of another, on top of another, on top of another that you just, oh my gosh, I don't know anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. There's too much to do. Oh, where do I start? And but it can be caused by so many different things. There's no rhyme, there's no reason. And remember, every one of us is an individual. So our triggers, for want of a better word, will be completely different. Hormones, I'm
Yeah,
going
play
to
a
talk
part.
about hormones because they do play quite an enormous part in feelings of overwhelm at times.
Mm.
And, let's just say you've got kids
Mm.
uh, reaching puberty near that age where their hormones are raging and they're getting angry and upset and everything's just a little bit too much. Oh.
Yeah, I think anything that takes us out of our equilibrium, of our sense of
Mhm.
balance. So hormones do this quite a bit,
Yeah,
particularly to anyone who menstruates, basically, um, and even in the years after you don't do that anymore. So
yes,
that's definitely a feature. But other things that like take us out of our equilibrium are when you're in new situations, learning new things, when
yeah,
there's too much data and information around you, maybe too many screens, too many bits of information. We're maybe not designed to be exposed to so many pieces of information at once.
yeah.
When our
Um,
expectations are for something and then it doesn't turn out to be what we expected, that kind of
mm,
stuff.
yeah. And not every situation affects people the same. So something that I get completely overwhelmed at, Tina might be looking at me going, oh dear me, what on earth is she going on about?
Mm.
So it's a very personal thing. It's a temporary thing.
I love that you said that because I think that is absolutely the key. If you take nothing else away from listening to us today, remember it's a temporary thing. We
Mhm.
all have these moments. I came in the office the other day. There was quite a lot on my to-do list. I looked at the clock. I thought I'm not going to get that all done in the time available to me. And I had a temporary feeling of overwhelm,
Yeah.
and that happens to every single one of us. So, A, it's temporary. You are not an overwhelmed person. You don't live with overwhelm. You hear these phrases all the time. You're having a feeling of being overwhelmed in the moment.
Yeah.
It's temporary.
Yeah. And I just want to reiterate that. So last week, I had what can only be described as a moment. And it was a very challenging, oh, it was just a very challenging time. And uh, I, I am a coach. I'm a mindset coach. I'm a hypnotherapist. This is my job to sort it, all of this like that. Could I sort myself out? No. And Tina and I had this conversation because I was like, I just couldn't coach myself out of it. Nothing I did worked. So knowing that it's just temporary is a thing, because the day after, all was right with the world. It
Yeah.
was very hormonal related,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So
And
we're
so,
going to give you,
mm,
oh, sorry, Tina, we are going to give you some extra hints and tips, because these are really important to keep you with a little bit of balance.
yeah, I agree. And all I was going to say, Kate, was, you're feeling great now. So, that, that it
Yeah.
comes and goes, I think is the thing to remind us all of. Yeah, I just want to give you a bit of a visualization moment, really, because there are different techniques, and we're going to do this together, and then Kate's going to talk about breathing afterwards for a moment, and maybe some other techniques, practical things. But if you can visualize this before you feel overwhelmed, so visualize it now if you're not feeling overwhelmed today, or get this kind of idea in your head. So if we close our eyes momentarily and we just now think about how we are in the center of a solar system. And all around us are many, many planets. And they're going around us as if they're in orbit around us. And there'll be planet washing up, and there'll be planet fill the car with petrol, and there'll be all sorts of planets. Get the food shopping, etc. Send birthday cards to me Auntie Dora. And they're all whizzing around your head, and they might have names to do with work, like do the appraisals or what have you. And they're just going to stay in our solar system, and they're just going to orbit gently, and they're going to always be in a really easy orbit. And every now and again, one of them is going to come right in front of our eyes, and we're going to notice it. We're going to go, oh, look, it's planet write a card for Auntie's birthday. We're just going to do that job. And then it's going to whiz off, and it's going to go around our head for another year. And that's what the work is like. That's what tasks are like. So every now and again, there'll be meteorites, and they'll surprise us. And there could be amazing opportunities that have just popped in from nowhere. But that's okay, we've got space for them, because all the other planets are just orbiting beautifully. And if you can just keep hold of that idea that you don't have to be dealing with all the planets in exactly the same moment, you might find that helpful.
Tina, that was blooming marvelous. I've never heard that. How wonderful.
Mm,
Because actually, by visualizing that, you do have that illusion of space, don't
mm,
you?
mm, mm,
It gives you room to breathe,
mm,
which actually does bring us nicely on to
mm.
another technique, which is your breathing and your mindfulness. If you're in a work situation and you're having feelings of overwhelm, it is okay to remove yourself from the situation. Maybe, and the best, you know what? The best place to go is to the toilet.
Yeah, get in a cubicle, private.
Yeah. Get yourself in the, not in the loo, in the cubicle, and just take a minute to
Mm,
be, okay, I'm going to focus on my breathing. We do these breathing exercises multiple times. Breathing in through your nose, holding it, out through your mouth, holding it, and repeat it.
And
That's
look at your feet when you're breathing. It's so useful, I think, Kate, to just ground yourself in these moments and just think, my feet are on the floor.
yeah. And when we talk about the mindfulness, it's keeping you present.
Mm, mm,
Think about what's important. Think about what's not important.
mm.
Because how much of what's going around your solar system, let's take, for example, Auntie Dora and her birthday card. Oh God, I haven't got time. I haven't got time to go to the shop, and then I've got to get a stamp, and then I've got to send it. Or you could just send an online card
Mm,
or a text message that goes, love you, kiss, 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 happy birthday.
Mm.
Or in my case, buy the cards, write the cards, then completely forget about them for the next year, as my family will attest to.
Yeah. And I think that brings us neatly to, there's always an alternative, and don't ever beat yourself up about this feeling, because if this feeling has resulted in you forgetting to do something, i.e. our discard, then
Mm.
as Kate quite rightly says, there are ways out of this, and you can even phone her up and go, God blimey, I had your card, I didn't post it, but you were on my mind. I love you. Have a great birthday.
Yeah, yeah. So almost those non-important things, let's just say for another example, the dishwasher hasn't washed the dishes. Oh God, they're still dirty. Put the dishwasher back on.
Yeah.
Just put the dishwasher back on.
And what you're saying is making me think of making lists, because sometimes I get out of that feeling myself by writing everything down, because I think part of my personal issue with overwhelming feelings is I think I'm going to forget something.
Mm.
So if I write it all down, I know at least it's written down somewhere. And then if I've got the time, I can prioritize it, think, well, half of those things, it don't matter if I don't do them now. So I don't know why I'm getting a head up about it. And secondly, let's just do 2 or 3 things, and at least that's good.
Well, Tina, I've come to realize that if I forget when, come on, let's be honest, listeners, when I forget stuff, it can't have been that important, because the important stuff I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually do. And I think just noticing, breathing, giving yourself a bit of slack, thinking about the planets, make a list, prioritize if you want, all of that is fantastic.
Yeah. And have a think about what else is in your gift. If you've got a pet, can you take them for a walk? Sometimes, especially if it's home circumstances, sometimes just walking through the door and shutting it and getting some fresh air can make the world of difference. Removing yourself from the situation, breathing, maybe doing a bit of exercise. It might be that actually you choose to make a phone call
Mm,
and ring. The amount of times, I must admit, last week when I had my moment, I spoke to my friend a couple of days later, who then proceeded to give me a massive bollocking for not ringing her and
mm,
talking to her about it.
mm.
Because it's absolutely true when they say a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah. And I think by talking about it, Kate, you get out of your head. You get out of your head, and by speaking it to someone else, you kind of, in a strange way, start to make sense of it.
Mm.
And they often mirror back to you that this is okay. We all feel like this, and you're okay, and you're going to be okay, and it's not as bad as you think. So it's good to reach out, isn't in that way, isn't it?
Yeah. So we are about to reach our station.
Hmm.
We are in the first class lounge now, and you've had
Mm,
breakfast or food and a glass of something nice. The train's mostly empty
mm.
because all of those people, they got off on the various stops
What a
between
relief.
there and here.
Mm,
I hope that you are very equipped to deal with whatever comes
mm,
your way. But you know what? Even if you're not, you've got the knowledge, haven't you, that will sit and ruminate.
mm.
So actually, you know what you're doing. You know you've got it.
Yeah, you've got this, and those things will just kind of cogitate in your mind, and you'll remember bits of it, and that'll be useful. So thanks for joining us in this conversation about overwhelm. We hope it's been helpful.
Yes. Have an amazing day.
Yeah. And do please share and like and leave us comments, because Kate and I love that.
And
Thank
subscribe. Remember
and
to, oh, that's like what that. Oh, look at my words. Look at my words, Tina. Time to go. Subscribe.
she needs some caffeine. All right, everybody. Cheerio. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening. This has been A Lift to Work with Kate and Tina. Please subscribe, like, and share. Comments and questions are most welcome.
And please remember, this is a light-hearted coaching podcast designed to stimulate your thinking. It's not designed to treat any mental health issues. So if you need additional professional help, please do see a qualified practitioner. Take care, and we'll see you next time.